What did I just discover, you guys? If this won't make you subscribe to this channel, I don't know what will. Imagine defeating your higher rated opponent in just 5 moves. This is something unique and probably something you've never seen on YouTube before. Let's begin. So playing white, you start with knight c3, which is called the Van Geet opening, a rarely played opening that allows for a variety of transpositions and some independent lines. First of all, one thing I like about this opening is that black's options are not too many. For example, the top played move in both the Masters and the Lichess database is pawn to d5. You can check in the Masters database if you want. Yep, sometimes black may play e5, and a few times you will see them responding with c5, trying to transpose into the Sicilian. Let's start with the top played move d5. Against this, the move that I recommend you should play is what grandmasters play in this position. If I'm not mistaken, even Magnus Carlsen has played this before. So you simply go pawn to e4 and you will see most of your opponents playing d4, which is the simplified version. But what I want to do in the Van Geet opening, if black allows, is to simply take on d5 and play the reverse Paris defense because I don't listen. Anyway, if white takes on e4, the second most played move, now you take, okay? Now see the top played move in the Masters database, you guys. I'm not making these things up. Knight d7 is what advanced players play. So after this move, knight d7, while there are so many things that you can do such as bishop c4, knight f3, knight g3, even pawn to d4, the move I recommend is knight g5, breaking one of the opening principles that says do not move one piece more than twice in the opening stage. We break that. Now, back to the Lichess database. This is where you're going to win a lot of games, ladies and gentlemen. If black gets uncomfortable with your knight and plays pawn to h6, guess what? Either the husband or the wife is going to die after the next cold-blooded move, knight e6. What a selfish move. This is just move 5, and I promise if you play this against any advanced opponent, they have to resign to show some respect. If f takes e6, the top played move, you just go queen h5 check, and on the next move mate black like this. Anyways, what else can black do after knight e6? So if black wants to save the game, he or she needs to accept losing the queen after something like c6. So you just go ahead and take that queen. Now it's up to you to convert. 90% of work is done. Anyways, before I continue with the Van Geet opening, this reminds me of the couple variation in the Caro-Kann where we start with e4 and then after c6, we play d4. Then as always, black responds with d5. And then we go knight c3, kind of the Paulsen variation of the French. Now black is going to take on e4, after which you are supposed to do the same. You take back with your knight. And then this is when we see masters playing the second most common move, knight d7. You can see again with your own eyeballs, this is what advanced players do. Because next, they want to develop their king's knight, play e6, bishop e7, and castle shot. So what we do in the couple variation is to play this move knight g5 once again. And see this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pawn to h6 is the 5th common move even at the top level. Which is surprising, you guys, because after this, the main line begins with knight e6 once again, attacking the queen somehow. And if white dares to capture on e6, this will be mate in 2 just like we saw in the Van Geet opening. Bingo! Anyways, this is not about the Caro-Kann. Let's continue with the Van Geet opening, beginning with the move knight c3. This is becoming one of my favorite openings, especially when I'm bored. Say I don't want to play e4 because of the Sicilian. Now again, black will play the top played move d5, and then you go pawn to e4. After d takes e4 and knight takes, again say black plays knight d7, kind of the couple variation. I still recommend you go knight g5. Maybe black will blunder with this move pawn to h6. Now if black continues to be a good boy and plays a more principled move knight gf6, what I recommend you do is to set up this position beginning with bishop c4, targeting the weak f7 pawn. You want to mate, right? After bishop c4, they'll play e6. And now what do? This is when you play queen e2. I just love this structure, you guys. In fact, I made a whole video explaining how good this structure is. You can go and watch that after you finish watching this. So what's the catch? If black plays the second most played move, bishop e7, intending to castle short, again, they are going to lose. What do? You don't take on e6, sacrificing your knight, but you take on f7, double attacking the queen and the rook, by the way, so black has to capture. But this will lead to mate in 8 after queen takes e6 check. Wherever the king goes, that will be mate in 1, so the king must step up, and at this point you don't want to play bishop d3 because you're going to block your dark squared bishop. So start with queen f7 check, so that if black goes to any of these highlighted dark squares, that's when you can play pawn to d4, which comes with check, and then you have bishop d3 or bishop e2 checkmate. Now say black plays king f5. The way I would continue is by starting with pawn to g4. This is the fastest way to kill black. Black has to take, because what else? And now this is when I play queen e6 check. Say queen h5, because what else? And now I go queen f5 check, say pawn to g5, and now you simply go pawn to h4. By the way, this is just the fastest way to mate your opponent. There are so many moves that you can play here. You're just one move away from mating. If h6 is played, you can even checkmate black like this. Or if they play something like knight g4, because whatever. But again, you can just do h takes g5, and whatever they do, you mate them on the next move. So if black doesn't play h6, where you go knight e6, and instead they play knight gf6, just remember to go bishop c4, and after e6, you go queen e2. From here, you can take it up. It all depends with the plan that you come up with. Knight f3, knight e5 should be played as quickly as possible. If knight b6 is played, attacking your light squared bishop, just put your bishop on b3, and after pawn to h6, chasing your knight away. This is where you want to oversimplify things. Go knight e4, trying to exchange, and this is when black is going to play something like bishop a7, and now you just continue playing normal chess. Knight f3, time for traps is over. They will castle short, and then you go pawn to d4. Say knight takes e4, because what else? You take back with your queen. By the way, pawn to f5, which most people like playing, is just a ridiculous move because that leaves the e6 pawn hanging, but you don't even have to take. You're just going to run into some crazy tactics. So just retreat your queen back to e2 and then castle short. The other thing is pawn to c5, the first pawn break. When you see this, just go pawn to c3. If c4 is played, you have bishop d3. If c takes d4, you can even take back with your knight, ensuring you are ahead in development. And in the Van Geet opening, to be honest, if things don't go my way, I just love developing my queen side pieces very quickly and castle long and start attacking on the king side as highlighted. This just seems to be interesting to me. Now back to the Van Geet initial position, where you take back with your knight on e4. We just looked at the knight d7 line, which is the top played move in the Masters database, but what if black plays knight f6, the top played move in the Lichess database? Well, knight takes f6 is not much of a stretch, but you see, I just don't like playing like a robot. There are two lines you may try. The first one is where you take on f6 and then develop your queen side pieces very quickly and castle long, then start attacking on the king side as highlighted. So you play in the style of the Richard Veresov or the Chigorin variation. That's okay, but here I wouldn't mind surprising my opponent with a move bishop e3. The thing is, if black takes, the game will go back to equal. I take back and put my light squared bishop on f3, develop my king's knight as highlighted, putting it on g3, like I do in the Benoni defense that I presented in my last video. But see, after bishop d3, if black doesn't take, that's well and good. I'm going to develop my queen on e2, play knight f3, blah blah blah. For example, if black plays e5, you need to be a little bit careful here. Don't play the top played move in the Lichess database. If you go knight f3, even though many black players are not aware of this, black may end up winning a free piece here after knight takes e4. And say after bishop takes, there's this move pawn to f5, and once you go back, they can easily play e4, and either your bishop or your knight is gonna die. You don't have bishop b5 check due to c6. Queen e2 doesn't stop anything. There's queen e7 and the threat is still the same. So this is the only thing you need to memorize. Maybe don't play knight f3. In my elbow line, if need be, this is when you can just take on f6. But what I like doing once again is just going queen f3, because what can white even do? And this is where most unprepared opponents play moves like bishop g4. Why? I can just take the knight with check, and whatever piece you take back with, I have queen takes. So I'm just up a piece. Anyway, you won't see prepared opponents playing bishop g4. If black takes, well, that has always been my prayer. I just take back with my bishop, threatening to capture on b7 now. If pawn to c6, well, ninjas don't die. So I go knight e2. There's no pawn to f5 because I'll just take. So they might play something like bishop d6 here, preparing to castle short, but here I have moves like d4 first, paving way for my dark squared bishop, and I can even castle long after that. I'll just castle short immediately. I have all these options. In fact, I like pawn to d4 here, because after pawn takes, I can just take back with my knight. Pop. If bishop b4 check, I have c3. If they castle short, I have bishop e3 and I'm preparing to castle long. See how simple this opening is, you guys. At the end of the day, it's white who is ahead in development, even though Stockfish says position is equal. So just follow what I'm telling you and you won't lose fast. Anyway, so back on move 3 after knight f6. Yep, just go bishop d3, that's okay. If they don't take, you just continue developing, beginning with queen f3 and knight e2. That's the savior. But you see, there is this other line that most black players like playing. After knight takes and you take back, the top played move is knight c6. Why? Because I can just take and mess up your pawn structure on the queen side. This is not good. But anyways, so this is the simplest you can do if, you just want to oversimplify things. And then go knight f3 this time. At least you won't lose to a fork. You have d4, bishop e3, queen e2, castle long, or castle short. Or if you don't want to just give up your light squared bishop that easily, this is where you stick to the plan that I just showed you, where you put your light squared bishop on f3, play knight e2, knight g3, castle short, d4, c3, bishop f4. For example, if I want, I can play knight e2 here, and after pawn to e5, now I castle short. Yep, knowing full and well that after pawn to f5 is played, I have bishop takes, just to oversimplify things. In fact, that's the best move in this position. And after pawn takes, look at how bad black's position is on the queen side, not to mention I have pawn to d4. If they take, that's bad for them because I take with the knight. Now wanting to take the c6 pawn, and I have rook e1 coming, pop, pop. So just stick to these simple ideas and you're going to have a very interesting game. Say bishop d6, they just want to castle short. Well, if they don't play f5, again you have moves like pawn to f4. This is just a good pawn break. If they take, you take back with your knight, and after castle short, you still go pawn to d4. Look at how open your position is. Bishop takes, by the way, is not good due to this. Yeah, there is queen takes, d4 check, but after you take and they take back, you are simply going to get back your pawn with a very comfortable position and a bishop pair. Anyways, back to the Van Geet opening after black plays pawn to d5. Again, the move you always want to play is e4. And you saw how beautiful this line is. But what if black plays the top played move pawn to d4? Well, that's what we're going to be learning in my next video. If at all you guys say you want to learn more, in the comment section down below. Let me know if you want me to continue with part 2, and I would also love to hear your thoughts and what else you think about the Van Geet opening. As for me, I like the variation where I put my light squared bishop on d3 and then queen f3 later on. Right, now time for you to go and check out my new e5 defense course, which I have also linked in the comment section down below. And I'm glad to say so far it has received a lot of attention and people are getting it like crazy. So it's an opening response that you try against white's e4 opening. You're going to learn how to play against the Scotch, the Ruy Lopez, the Bishop's opening, 3 Knights opening, the 4 Knights game, the Vienna game, even the Italian game. So it's the complete e5 defense course that I just launched with my team. You better go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.